With Indonesian Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Sandiaga Uno on what Indonesia wants to achieve via this forum.
See Today reporter Laras Ardhia, along with video journalist Anita Putri, Adit Fatoni, and Fabian Deri, have prepared this following talk show for the 3-hour news show. Let's have a look.
See today with me, Laras Ardhia, and today we are going to talk about the ASEAN Tourism Forum 2023. And here we are with the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia, Mr. Sandi Salahuddin Uno. Hello, Mr. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Laras, and thank you, See Today, for having us and covering this very strategic event, which marks the first event for ASEAN chairmanship for Indonesia. So the ASEAN Tourism Forum kick off the series of events and meetings around the ASEAN chairmanship that will be held in various cities, including the summit in Labuan Bajo in May, and the also ASEAN plus US, ASEAN plus China to be held in Jakarta or Bali by September this year.
Yeah, we are really, we see the enthusiasm of most of the ASEAN countries that involved here at the forum to bring back their economic growth, especially on the tourism sector. Of course, we are seeing that most of the ASEAN countries as well are willing to develop their quality as well as their sustainability of their tourism industry. And one of the focus is the ecotourism industry in some of the ASEAN countries member. And what I've heard during the NTO's meeting earlier, that the accessibility of the ecotourism is one of the concerns of the ASEAN countries. How do you accommodate this in this forum?
Well, infrastructure that is sustainable needs to be made available, and also the funding of such infrastructure. So during this ASEAN Tourism Minister meeting at the ASEAN Tourism Forum, we also will discuss why Southeast Asia tourism, in particular the big four countries of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam, recovers at a slower pace compared to other regions like Europe, the US, as well as other regions. So we need to accelerate the recovery of ASEAN tourism, one of which is the ecotourism, the tourism village, how accessibilities, connectivities, and building the infrastructures, development of destinations, and how tourism areas will become more inclusive and resilient. We also believe that the results of the G20 summit, in particular when we discuss in and around World Tourism Day, that implementing the Bali guideline will be key for this ASEAN tourism to accelerate its recovery. Human capital, digitalizations and innovations, women and youth empowerment. There need to be more women to be involved in tourism and more the Gen Z and millennials. We also see climate actions, and you mentioned about ecotourism. We are providing tourism products that actually help reduce the carbon emissions. Policy framework to support the 4 pillars. So Bali guideline will be the key that we will be discussing. And when you talk about human capital, it's actually about jobs. It's actually about how we could empower the micro, small, medium enterprises with skills, entrepreneurship, and educations. Also, we need to do reskilling, upskilling, and new skilling in order to provide better skills for the human capital to cater to the new personalized, customized, localized, and smaller in size tourism post-pandemic. And finally, we believe we need to certify this new human capital so that they're up to the standard of tourism professionals' competence. We are enhancing also the micro, small, medium enterprises capacity, and Indonesia as chair of ASEAN needs to improve the Tourism Professional Monitoring Committee to enhance the mutual recognitions of ASEAN in terms of arrangements on tourism professionals. So a lot of discussions will be made, including this ecotourism accessibility. But at the end of the day, we need to improve the quality of ASEAN tourism in terms of human resources, creating jobs. And our target in Indonesia is in cooperations with this potentials of ASEAN tourism and ASEAN as a single destination. So we aim to create 4.4 million new jobs by 2024.
Yeah, agree on that. On collaboration between all involved, all include the stakeholders and all sectors involved, as well as how to develop the human capitalism in a sustainable way.
That's correct.
And then one of the concern as well is on how halal food is available in most of ASEAN countries, because I've also joined one of the session with the Philippines, and then one of the concern is the low availability of halal food there. So will there any collaboration moving forward to collaborate between all ASEAN countries to make sure the availability?
Halal tourism is growing very fast, and the two countries that are ranked number 1 and number 2 are Malaysia and Indonesia. And as part of ASEAN, we need to create an ecosystem of how halal tourism could also be catered, because Japan, Korea, they're developing this halal tourism very fast. So we need to create a notion that extensions of services that provide halal food, also place of worship, extensions of services including how